I know part of the Rizin lore, part of the Japanese MMA scene is fighting in a ring. How do you like these landmark cards that are in a cage? Is it a turnoff for you guys? Does it matter to you at all? Does it mess with like what's traditional in that promotion coming from Dream?
So I don't know if you know the whole story behind why they started the K series, but the reason why was, so it's a pandemic era, and they used to do a show called Trigger, which is not called Trigger anymore. That's another long story, but we're not gonna get into that. But the reason why was because Sakakibara said, well, he wanted to have an environment where, in case if his fighters wanted to go overseas, they would have experience in a cage, which is mostly done in overseas fighting. You know, UFC, Bellator, all that stuff. I'll be honest, I really don't care for it. There's nothing. I think the ring is just aesthetically better looking. I know that the arenas though that they're doing it in really can't support a ring like this Saga arena. I don't think, from the way that I saw the inside, I don't think it could have the large ring that Ryzen does. I mean, let's just do it. I just say do it with fracking ring, man. Like uh, everybody does a cage. It's that's one of the reasons that Ryzen I like, because it's different. And one of the reasons is because the ring is awesome. Too many people wall install on the cage. I don't care what J Will says, but I see a lot more stalling on the cage than I do in the ring. And yeah, it just the ring is just more classier. I don't know how else to put it. There's just something classy about seeing two dudes and two gals fighting in a ring.
Hey, and Kinoshita would actually have a win in Rizin if it wasn't for grabbing that fucking cage. So.
That's true as well. That's true as well. Yeah, he wouldn't have gotten his first DQ ever. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I saw that, and DQ or not, I was like, I love this guy. You're an absolute savage. I love this guy. Chris, what are your thoughts on cage versus ring, especially for something again that's something that's so like cherished as far as the tradition that goes into Rizin?
I mean, come to think of it, you have to look at the tradition of fight sports in general when it comes down to cage or ring. I mean, it's like Andrew said, and I think that a lot of people can agree with him. Fighting in a ring is just a lot more classier and a lot more traditional. When it comes down to a cage, you could barely see anything when it comes down to mesh. And
that too.
You could barely make any dimensions around a cage. Whereas in a ring, it just feels more like a big fight. It just feels more traditional. It just feels more like violence with a sense of class.
I like that. Violence. I want to expand on what
Chris just said. Sorry, I just want to quickly expand on what Chris said. As an audience member who's been to cage shows and ring shows, you can sit anywhere in a ring, in a ring show, and you have a good eye to see the fights. If you're at a cage show, if you are anywhere on floor level, they go to a corner and they start clinching or whatever, you can't see crap. You're gonna be staring at the Tron the entire time. The only good seat for a cage show is if you're all the way up in the elevated seats. So
that's a good point. That's a good point. That's so true. When you see a cage show at like a big arena, I'm still like, I can't afford the big arena shows yet. So I go to like LFA shows locally, and most of those are like, in casinos where it's in a theater and there's not really a bad seat because you don't really get those corner visions. But no, that's such a good point. That's such a good point.
Yeah. To my point on the whole ring versus cage debate, especially when it comes to Rizin, it just feels different to see, as Jay Wolf would say normally, I guess it's changed now, but it's superior rule set awesomeness inside the Rizin cage. I mean, you don't see that when it comes to unified rules MMA. You don't even see, unless you want to get disqualified, of course, LFA notwithstanding. You don't even see that with 1FC. And they used to have rules where you could soccer kick to the body. You could basically do 12-6 elbows. And now, with their stupid-ass global rule set, you can't even do that. But when you have promotions like Rizin, or like this promotion out of Thailand called Full Metal Dojo, which is now pretty much Fight Circus, or even in Poland with this promotion called Wotore, WOTORE, by the way. I mean, still, you have all these opportunities to see some great violence on display in the cage that nobody in the world can really display because everybody else pretty much follows the cookie cutter unified rule set that the Association of Boxing Commissions put out back in 2001 because they wanted to make MMA a lot less barbaric. But still, though, I think that when it comes down to the ring or cage debate, when it comes down to RIZIN, it really doesn't matter because you're still going to get that same superior rule set awesomeness that we've all come to expect for about the last 8 years of this promotion. It's just that in a ring, it just feels more like a big fight. With a cage, it just feels more like you're trying not to fall asleep, as I'm pretty sure Degenerate Dane has bashed me for. You're trying not to fall asleep, and you're hoping that all of the fights are just filled with action, which, if they weren't, would we even be talking about this shit right now?
No, absolutely.
A good shot to get life to the sheep, leash nice, but nah, he ain't nice underneath. Got a price on a leash, I don't trust when they speak. Be sound a real spite for the meat. Boy, I bleed with the best, got a people, the eagle and downs, I done feed with the flesh, trying to smeagol the rain. She believe that I'm blessed, got a speed to the left. All of my clothes, I be eager to measure, oh no. Might put on